Thank you for joining us today. If you are not an ATA member, please consider joining at https://atalink.org/become-a-member. The views expressed in this presentation are those of the speaker and do not reflect the official policy or position of the United States Air Force, the Department of Defense, the United States government, or the Airlift Tanker Association. Please take advantage of the question and answer feature in Teams to submit your questions anytime during the presentation. There is no need to wait until the end of the presentation portion to submit your questions. Also, make sure to like questions by clicking the thumbs up icon. That way we know what you want to hear about.
Hello and welcome to ATA. I am Senior Master Sergeant Albarracin. I work at Headquarters AMC A1K. I am currently the Military Personnel Manager for AMC. This is my overview. I will be talking about 2019 items that were considered, rumors, force development, and within it, EPME, recent TA changes, bereavement leave, SLA, Air Force Integrated Personnel and Pay Systems, or AFIPS, DSD, fitness and evaluations. Assignments, the court order, new program, joint spouse codes, and accelerated PCS orders. Senior NCO promotion process, the actual process and the initial cut line, and care solutions, VRED and SGLI. Slide. 2019 items considered. What you see in this slide is the items that are checkmarked are programs that the Air Force has already been implemented. And the other ones are still being talked about to ensure we get it right. Enlisted talent management. This is a system that is already being used by the officer corps. It allows the commander to advocate for that particular airman to be placed in a position that requires a skill. It will allow the Air Force to better utilize skill sets held by airmen and to ensure we're managing our personnel properly. However, the discussions are still being held at half. Step process. The step process could change the so-on date, leaving promotee to so-on with all others versus on the date that the member is step promoted. EPR changes. EPR changes, as you may already know, an AFI was published, but it was removed shortly after. Changes and revisions are still being worked on. Overseas tour lengths for first-term airmen. The elimination of the 2-year tour is being discussed at half. The 2-year tour will now become a 3-year tour. This is something that the Army already implemented. PT bad day policy. If a member passes the diagnostic assessment, it could be counted as the official one. Body composition will need to be completed within 7 days of the aerobic composition. Currently, the beta initiative is being held at AFMC bases only. Bereavement leave, I have a slide on that one. In shared custody assignments, I have 2 slides on that. Shorts. With regards to shorts, ACC has the lead on this particular item. Items that are being considered are who is able to wear shorts. Is it going to be by AFSC? What kind of requirements the squadron will have? Clothing allowances. Ultimately, it will be the uniform board to approve or disapprove shorts. Force development, EPME. Self-registration, flexibility, and transparency. In an effort to give our airmen more flexibility and control over their professional education, AFPC has planned and developed a self-registration scheduling system for in-residence EPME courses. Primary and alternate dates self-registration windows will take place twice a year, giving eligible airmen a 6-month window of available classes, of available class dates to choose from. Following the deadline, AFPC will gather the information and schedule volunteers for classes in order of preference and availability. Once all volunteers are scheduled, AFPC will program remaining eligible airmen for any open class seats. Deferments and replacements will be required. The good thing about this is that if there is a member on a profile, they may still attend a virtual class. Military TA changes. Effective 1 October of this year, the military TA cap for airmen was reduced from 4,500 to 3,750. Per the Air Force PA news release on 29 September of this year, adjustments were necessary to ensure military TA remains fully available and sustainable while meeting increase in participation rates and course costs. As you can see, the enrollment went up 9% and government costs increased to 2.4 million. Waivers may still be submitted through the commander and to the local education and training section, but ultimately AFPC will be the approval authority. Slide. Bereavement leave or emergency leave of absence. Unit commanders or civilian directors may now grant an emergency leave of absence for qualifying emergencies, including the death or serious medical condition of an immediate family member, or any other hardship the commander or director determines appropriate. This non-chargeable leave can only be granted once during a member's career, not to exceed more than 14 consecutive days. This non-chargeable leave should also only be granted to prevent the member from entering advanced or excess leave status that could result in recoupment of any pay and allowances. SLA. Department of Defense's action to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 limited the ability of airmen to take leave during the national emergency. On 1 October of this year, eligible service members who have annual leave in excess of 60 days, not to exceed 120 days as shown in their LESs, will automatically be approved SLA and may carry the balance not to exceed 120 days until 30 September 2023. The automatic leave carryover transaction will be accomplished by DFAS. There will be no action required at base level or by the individual for this to take effect. The SLA carryover will not be reflected on LES until the end of October 2020 LESs. Air Force Integrated Personnel and Pay System, AFIPS. DoD-wide initiative for military services to pursue their own integrated personnel and pay systems. The Undersecretary of Defense issued a memorandum dated 27 April 2016, approving the update of the Air Force existing military personnel data system, or MIL-PDS, as the way forward for the development of AFIPS, an integrated end-to-end payroll capability. This approval was based on the Air Force study, which determined that modifying the existing MIL-PDS would result in less risks and lower costs than developing a new pay and personnel system. With the full deployment of AFIPS scheduled for 1 April 2022, military pay responsibilities for the total force will shift from the FM to the A1 community. AFIPS and the A1 enterprise will integrate personnel and pay processes for regular Air Force to include Space Force as a command under the Air Force, National Guard, Reserve Corps, and Air Force Academy cadets. AFIPS will provide an improved alignment of military compensation function to include a transfer of military pay mission from DFAS to Air Force effective 1 October 2021. Slide. DSD, Developmental Special Duty. The first sergeant was removed from the DSD process. Members will now be able to apply via MIPERS. Jobs will be advertised year-round in 2 cycles to fill 7 First Sergeant Academy classes. Local hires, such as Airman Dorm Leaders, Airman Leadership School Instructors, Career Assistant Advisors, and Airman Family and Readiness Center cadre, were removed from the DSD hiring process and allow installations to manage it. The duties will remain DSD with respect to eligibility requirements, but installations will advertise locally. All eligible potential candidates can and will be racked and stacked and forwarded to the CFM for final approval. If there are no local eligibles for a local requirement, the DSD team will advertise it on equal. The bottom line is that AFPC will fill that particular position. Fitness. Official physical fitness assessments are suspended for the total force until 31 December 2020 to mitigate both exposure to and the spread of COVID-19 in our force. When testing resumes, the Air Force will take a systematic approach to reintegrating official physical fitness assessments. All Air Force members will receive the maximum allowable points, 20 points that is, for their abdominal circumference. This includes airmen who have a profile exempting them from completing the abdominal circumference. FAC members will enter the member's previous height and weight that was updated in AFIMS during the last in-person fitness assessments. Airmen who are due to test on or after 1 January 2021 will still test on time. Installation commanders may delay official fitness assessments beyond 1 January 2021. A decision to delay should be based on the recommendation of local public health officials, the continuation of closed fitness centers, and extended statewide restriction of movement and gatherings. Evaluations. SCOP determines when reports are due. We still have reports being completed late, thus creating more supplemental promotion considerations. File freeze date is a date that AFPC needs to have the reports by in order to allow airmen to compete for promotion. Slide. Court order custody assignments or deferment program. This is a program that was approved on July 28th of this year. Members may go CONUS to CONUS or PCS overseas to CONUS. Manning at both levels must support. Mill-to-mill airmen will serve in their own right. Some of the requirements is that members must be named as parent in the court order custody agreement. Upon approval, AFPC will update a approved 12-month assignment deferment via MIL-PDS with assignment availability code of CC and close the application. The deferment period is for 12 months. Then it reverts to indefinite, meaning the airman will remain assigned at that particular location until selected for reassignment either as a volunteer or as the most eligible non-volunteer. The geographic location to where they PCS is the region that allows an airman to co-parent within a reasonable traveling distance. Next slide. AMC approvals breakdown. If you don't mind, I'm going to read this straight off my notes. AMC maintained and or gained 21 airmen. 5 assigned to AMC. They had assignments. Assignments were canceled, and they were approved the 12-month in-place deferment. These were all NCOs. 3 assigned to AMC. They were approved the in-place 12-month deferment. This was 1 major and 2 senior NCOs. 11 assigned to non-AMC bases, and they were approved, and they went to AMC bases. This was 2 airmen, 6 NCOs, and 3 senior NCOs. 2 assigned to AMC, they were approved the 12-month deferment program, and they went on to other AMC bases. This was 1 NCO and 1 senior NCO. AMC losses or diverted, 7 airmen. 4 assigned to AMC, they were approved the 12-month deferment and went to non-AMC bases. 3 NCOs and 1 senior NCO. 2 were inbound to AMC, and they were diverted to a non-AMC base. 1 NCO and 1 senior NCO. 1 was inbound to AMC. The assignment was canceled and went on to a non-AMC base. This was a senior NCO. AMC loss based on overseas returnee requirements. It was 1 person. He or she is a senior NCO. Slide. Joint spouse intent codes. There are currently 3 joint spouse intent codes that can be updated via virtual MPF. The codes are A as in alpha, B as in Bravo, and H as in hotel. A means that you go anywhere together to include concurrent short tours at the same location. For instance, Kunsan, Osan, and Incirlik. Airmen will not be authorized to bring their dependents. However, each airman will still receive a short tour credit and will be authorized to participate in the follow-on program. B means you go anywhere together, but short tours only. H means that a joint spouse is not desired. Joint spouse consideration takes priority over assignment preferences. Joint spouse denials must be approved by the AFPC commander. Accelerated PCS orders. The Air Force is trying to simplify the process while enhancing the airman's PCS experience. It will also facilitate an airman to schedule their TMO appointment quicker, especially during PCS season. There are 2 airmen who are not authorized to participate in this program, and they are members who are enrolled in the Exceptional Family Member Program, or EFMP, or airmen who have PRP assignments. These 2 airmen will have to complete all PCS requirements before orders are issued. Medical clearances. MPFs will provide the medical treatment facilities a medical clearance memo on a routine basis. Medical clearances cannot be accomplished until the airman initiates the individual medical readiness, or MyIMR process. Airmen will provide a screenshot from MyIMR that shows pending tech review to the MPF to validate initiation of medical clearance. Overseas assignments. MPFs will secure a verbal confirmation from the airman on their intent to elect the accompanied by dependent tour authorizing command-sponsored dependents to relocate with the airman on the overseas PCS. Security clearances. MPFs are still responsible for briefing airmen on security clearance requirements. Slide. Senior NCO promotion process. On February 4th, 2019, the Air Force announced the new Active Duty Senior NCO Promotion Board. This would eliminate promotion testing in the Weighted Airman Promotion System, or WAPS, as well as WAPS test scores and decoration points. Those wishing not to be considered for promotion during the promotion cycle may sign an Air Force Form 1566A no later than the file freeze date for that particular cycle. The file freeze date will be announced via MIPERS 7 to 14 days prior to the Central Promotion Board convene date. Declinations apply to the current cycle only, and once made, it cannot be reversed. The completion of Air Force Form 1566A does not void entitlements to separation pay when the reason is higher tenure. A significant change to the score notice from previous years is the board score grouping area. This section displays the number of selects and non-selects within a particular AFSC grouping. Previous board score groupings range from 270 to 450 points. New board score groupings range from 270 to 450.5 points, with a 0.5 added board score between each of the previous board score groupings. The added 0.5 represents the scores of airmen who were selected for promotion through the gray zone resolution process, and we'll see that in the next slide. In this example, we'll have 39 quotas for the AFSC being considered. As you can see, 35 of the quota have already been determined with the selects above the initial cut line in the order of merit. There are 9 records in the next score category, known as the gray zone, with 4 remaining quota or promotions available. The board president conducts a quality review of records near the cut line and can add records to the gray zone for rescoring. At this point, board members will resolve the gray zone through additional rounds of scoring until the available promotion quota are filled. Next. And last but not least, SGL and VRED. As a personnel, far too often do we C members who pass away and either their SGLI or their VRED is not up to date. I encourage each and every one of you to review your information during your birth month or when a drastic change happens in your life. Having an updated form will prevent erroneous payouts and mitigate delayed and wrongful notifications from AFPC. Slide. And this concludes my briefing. Thank you for listening. I will be standing by for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. We have Senior Master Sergeant Abarasin joining us today to take your questions. Senior, you out there?
Yes, I am.
Outstanding. The first question is some of the from some of the MCOs at Joint Base Lewis McChord is, will there be a return in any way of TIG or TIS towards WAPS testing?
With regards to this question, I have not heard of the time and grade and time and service being returned to the scoring. And since that was recently taken away, I don't foresee that coming back anytime soon. That is my personal opinion. I have not heard anything with regards to that.
All right, and thanks again, Tech Sergeant Neal, for that question. The next question is, if all airmen receive an abdominal circumference exemption, will airmen who score a 90 or higher still be able to retest yearly, or will all airmen be required to test semi-annually since they were exempt from that component?
So my particular briefing on PT is basically was due to COVID. So if you score a 90, where did my question go? If you scored a 90, you will still be able to test on a yearly basis. That being an excellent, correct? But with COVID being around, all PT has been suspended until January of next year.
Copy that. I know that's a question that a lot of people had out there. The next question is, can you describe how the talent management initiatives differ from the enlisted development team / vectoring and D-prefix positions already in place?
I think this system will work hand in hand with the vectoring process that we currently have. Having the talent management out there will allow AFPC to pull members that are already vectored or have a D prefix. I think it would allow the Air Force to place the right people in the right spot.
Outstanding. The next question is, will there be considerations for people in the gray zone during the last cycle?
Ooh, this question is a hard one. This one I do not know. I would love to answer this question if you just give me your information and I'll get back to you.
Awesome. You can just put that in the Q&A and I'll make sure that Senior gets that information. The next question, slightly longer. Can you speak on more detail on the 120-day leave carryover through 2023? Specifically, are members allowed to carry up to 120 days each year? Or are members limited to the amount of days over 60 they had for this year? For example, if a member carried over 80 days of leave on 1 October 2020, does this mean they can carry over 110 days of leave up on 1 October 2021, or are they limited to 80 days going back to 1 October 2020? The memo implies this limitation versus just an overall 120-day blanket approval. This sounds like some of those train leaving the station math problems for you. So I'll leave the question up for you there so you can figure it out.
Thank you. All right, so according to the memo, I want to say that you're able to carry up to 120 days. I'm not sure that I understand completely the question. You will be able to carry over 120 days all the way into year 2023.
Right. I think the question is, let's say you had a bunch, like you said, on 1 October of 2020, you carried over 80 days, and now you're going to get another 60 days of leave, and then another 60. It's going to compound, and it's going to exceed 120. So is 120 the max, or is it 120 per year?
Correct. 120 is up to 120 days, 120 days.
All right, so it will not compound. So whenever you reach 120, if you get more past that, even if it's still to 2023, you're not going to be able to carry that over and accrue over 120 days. So,
as of right now, that's how it is, unless something else develops due to COVID-19 again.
copy that. We got a couple more questions coming in. Will there be official opportunities for airmen to transfer to the Space Force on a regular basis? Would this be dissimilar, or would this be similar to a DSD?
I do not have an answer to that question. I apologize.
Not a problem. All right, we got a couple more questions just came in. So the next one is for the Senior NCO Promotion Board. Did your data say that all the weighted factors, i.e. decorations, have been eliminated?
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
Correct. The decorations have been eliminated in time and grade and time and service.
Okay. Next question is certain 2A career fields seem to be automatically denied for DSDs due to low manning in the AFSC, yet do not have a re-enlistment bonus. Will these AFSCs be allowed or selected for the DSD process?
I don't necessarily think that members are automatically denied. This would be up to overall Air Force manning levels and the CFM, allowing the airmen to leave that particular career field.
Yeah, I think that's an AFPC question as far as critically manned career fields and how they're going to move things around down there. So we have another question here is with the other services revamping their PT testing, is the Air Force planning any long-term changes? There was recently a submitted innovation topic on monthly requirements for PT versus semi-annual and annual testing. Is there any traction with this that you've heard about?
I heard Chief Bass talking about this. I have not heard any other changes at this moment. Once again, the briefing was based on current situations due to COVID, but I have not seen any changes developing with our PT.
Copy that, Senior. The next question is, what are the criteria needed for emergency leave to the states for an overseas member?
The criteria is going to be based on the commander or the civilian director. It'll be, that is not specified in the AFI, I believe. It just says that, what did I put on the slide? I mean, it could be due to a death or due to a very ill family member, and that criteria is based on the commander's discretion.
Copy. I think the question might be getting at what would maybe possibly what the funding to get back to the states would be, but that would be another question.
With the funding part, oh geez, when I was overseas long ago, I remembered sending people from overseas to stateside on it's basically a free ticket to the nearest port, and I don't think that has changed. That's based on, I'm not sure where the funds come from, but the member will be flown to a nearest port.
Yeah, and there's also Space A if it's available out of their locations. So.
Correct.
All right, what happens if you are on an indefinite enlistment and you decline an assignment?
That's an excellent question. If I lost my question.
No, it's still up there.
If you're an indefinite, can I get a POC on that one? Because I don't want to answer it incorrectly. I know that it's probably not good as usually in the past, if you decline retainability, then you would have to separate at your DOS. So I would rather look at the AFI and answer this one the way it's supposed to.
Nothing wrong with that. We definitely want to make sure we get these folks the correct answers. So that is all I have for questions right now. We'll give it another couple of minutes for that, and the contact info for the other question is up there in the new questions for you, Senior.
Okay, I'm going to take note of that.
Yeah, so and if the person that asked the indefinite enlistment question could also get us contact info in the question and answer, that would be great, and that way Senior can get back to you. Are there any other questions out there in cyberspace for Senior? This is a unique opportunity to sit here with your enlisted force development leadership, so make sure you get those questions in if you have them. And thank you again for joining us today. All right, I still don't see the contact info for the indefinite enlistment one, so we'll give it another couple of minutes here for any new questions or anything else. Any other news that didn't make your brief, anything breaking from the chief's comments yesterday, or anything changing that you'd like to give a just-in-time update on?
I don't have any just-in-time updates, but I would like to let the person know who asked the question about the indefinite assignment to look me up on the global and just reach out to me if you like. First name is Eduardo, Eduardo, and last name is Albarracin, Albarracin.
Excellent. We did get a couple more questions in. The next one is for assignment deferments for child custody. What about states with long separation period?
What exactly do you mean about states with long separation periods?
Yeah, so if you could get us some expansion on that question in the chat, that would be great.
Yes, the intent is for the parents to be able to co-parent and get people closer together, and you are able to go CONUS to CONUS for a period of 12 months. It's a 12-month deferment.
All right, so let's move on to the next question while we're waiting. Is why isn't sems and csems not selected like unit commanders? So senior enlisted manager, chief enlisted managers.
Oh, thank you. I don't have an answer for that one either, sir.
All right, nothing wrong with that. And you also mentioned that the criteria for shorts is being shaped still. However, when can we expect to see them rolling out?
Sure, the shorts have been an initiative for a little bit right now. And again, the ACC, I believe, is who has the lead on it. And there's still a lot of going back and forth as to who is able to wear the shorts. I would not be able to give a definite as to when this change will come about, but I don't think it will be anytime soon.
All right. Well, we did get some clarification, and thank you for that. So the long separation periods is the divorce timeline. It says you must be divorced according to the instruction, but some states have a 1-year separation time before divorces are granted. So if you're forced to be separated and you're not divorced because of state law, how does that apply for the assignment deferments? And that one might require some more research, I'm guessing, as well.
That is correct.
All right, so I know that person's still listening, so please just reply back to your initial comment with that contact info, and Senior will try to get you some answers on that. Let's see what we've got for questions now. That's it, so we'll give it another minute or so, see if anything else pops out. And, you know, we've had a lively bunch for question and answer, that's sure. So for everyone, the rest of the schedule for the rest of the symposium for the rest of the day, we do have Simon Sinek up next, and that's going to be a conversation between General Van Ovost and Simon Sinek. And after that, we'll have a short break. So that's going to go from 1200 till 1245 Central Time. And then we have the AMC Command Chief. Chief Krzelnik's going to be joining us from 1255 to 140, and joining him for question and answers there is going to be General Van Ovost. So if you were unable to get your question answered, in the time that we had with General Van Ovost back on the first day of the symposium. You should hopefully be able to get your questions asked there. She's extended her schedule, and we're going to go not all through the day, but we're going to answer as many of those questions as we can. All right, couple more quick questions popped in. Is there shared information for CONUS base availability? Will mandatory movers listing for CONUS locations be made available for viewing at all times?
I'm reading the question.
Okay.
Mandatory movers listing for the mandatory mover listing, this is still on a quarterly basis, and it's available on equal listing, if that's what you're referring to. Yeah, it's available on a quarterly basis. So if that's what you mean about being available and viewable, then yes. But once the assignment are selected and matched, that list disappears.
All right. The next one is going to be, do you have any intel on how ball caps or tactical hats and beards will go with the uniform board next week? I know everyone has a feeling about this.
Where's this question? Oh boy, I do not have any intel on this at all, but I am with you. This is my own personal opinion. I would love to have a beard as well. I actually have a friend who's on the board, and I have not heard anything from him, or he's not on the board. He's actually compiling inputs on the new changes for our uniforms. But I apologize, I do not have any inside scoop on this one. I wish I did.
All righty. Well, that is all the questions. And for the people that put in the questions, we do have your contact info now. So I know Cedar will get back to you with those answers. And it is linked to the questions back there in the new questions, Senior. So make sure you grab that before you log off today.
Copy that.
But I think that's going to go ahead and finish up our seminar then, unless you have anything else there, Senior.
No, sir. I really appreciate everyone listening to the brief. And that is all I have.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. Please remember to come back for Simon Sinek and Chief Krzelnik later today. And again, thank you for joining us at the virtual 2020 Airlift Tanker Association Symposiums.